Welcome to my how-to play video for Redx Facility 342. My name is Brandon. Facility 342 plays 7 to 15 players with games lasting 25 to 90 minutes. This game has no player elimination and no need for a narrator. Facility 342 is a hidden role game where team loyalty is constantly changing. Players are either part of an alien race that reproduce by taking over the mind and body of a living host, or part of the researcher team that is attempting to assemble a purification device that will cure the infected players, ultimately saving the entire human race. The aliens win if they can infect the entire research team. The researchers win if they can collect all the parts needed to build the purification device. Now let's go over what's included. The DNA verification cards indicate if you are infected by the aliens or not. The red cards with researcher in the top left indicates you start the game off as a human researcher, where the infected alien cards are green with the word alien in the top left. You may not show your DNA verification card to any other player or discuss the color or artwork. The point of the game is to figure out who is infected based on how they play the game. Voting tokens are double-sided tokens that are used to vote in the head researcher. The side with the red X is used to vote in favor of the nominated player, where the green side with the alien head is to vote against that player as the head researcher. Whichever player gets voted in as head researcher gets the head researcher card. The head researcher chooses which players are paired up and sent on part missions together. There are 6 pairs of matching keycards. The keycards are used to indicate who are going on missions together. The keycards are numbered 1 through 6. Matching keycards are required to get into mission rooms together. The 6 purification parts are used to create the alien purification machine. Human researchers try to collect these as the aliens try to prevent it. 1 purification part is placed in each mission room. The purification schematics is the blueprints used to make the device to save the researchers from the aliens. After a part has been collected during a mission, it is placed on the schematics board. The meeting and mission rooms all get an action dice. The action dice determine what happens during a mission. Now let's go over how to set up the game. This game requires areas that are private that prevent other players from seeing or hearing what's happening during a mission. Pick a room to be your meeting room, typically the place you usually play games and has room for all the players. We use the living room for our meeting room. Once this room is selected, place the purification schematics and an action dice in the middle of the playing area. This is the room where everyone meets between missions. Now pick 6 other rooms in the house, or outside the house that will be your mission rooms. The game works best if you can close a door. We use the garage, bathroom, laundry room, guest room, and master bedroom. We don't use the kitchen because there's no door to close, so we use the backyard for our 6th mission room. Place 1 purification part and an action dice in each of these rooms. Once all the mission rooms are set up, all the players meet in the meeting room. For this example, we will have 12 players, and each player is given a voting token. To determine who is infected, you take 2 of the infected alien DNA verification cards and add human research DNA verification cards to the number of players you have. In our example, we have 12 players, so that means we start off with 2 aliens and 10 researchers. Now shuffle the DNA verification cards and then deal 1 card face down to each player. Each player secretly looks to see if they were infected or not, and then they return their card back to the game box. There's no need to keep the cards because your role can change during gameplay. So now 2 of the players have been infected by the alien, and the other 10 players are still researchers. I marked the aliens in this video, but when you play, you will not know who the aliens are unless you are one. That is all the setup that is required for this game. In the game, the year is 2079, and you are a researcher for the company Redx Planetary Exploration. You and your team of researchers have been sent to a planet in the galaxy IC-342 to explore an unmapped section of the universe. During your deployment, 2 of the researchers came in contact with an unknown life form that can only reproduce by infecting the mind and body of another life form. After experiencing human consciousness for the first time, this alien life form knew that taking over the human race was the best future for its own kind. You are now in a battle for the future of the human race. Your only hope is to construct a device that can mix and release a gas that will kill off all the aliens that are infecting the human researchers. You must retrieve 6 parts needed to construct the purification device. But beware, when left alone with an alien, you're in danger of being infected yourself. The game consists of 4 phases. Phase 1, nominate a head researcher. Phase 2, select mission teams. Phase 3, mission phase. And Phase 4, missions over. Phase 1, nominating a head researcher. Each round of the game starts off with assigning a head researcher. This is done by having any player nominate another player and have someone second that nomination. You may nominate yourself, but you still need another player to second it. Once someone has been seconded, each player takes their voting token and secretly places what they want face up on the table, hidden under their hand. The red X logo is to accept that player as the head researcher, where the alien side means you do not trust that player and you deny them as the head researcher. Once all the players have their voting tokens hidden under their hand, they remove their hands showing what they voted. Nominated players only vote when there is an odd number of players, but all other players must vote, and the majority votes win. If the majority vote tokens are showing the red X logo, then the nominated player becomes head researcher. If the majority of the vote tokens are the alien head, then the process starts over. A player can only be voted on once per round, and if all the players have been voted on and denied, then the game is over and the aliens have won for creating too much confusion. Phase 2, select mission teams. Once the head researcher is chosen, it is that player's responsibility to select teams of 2 for missions. The head researcher will never go on a mission for a purification part. The head researcher will give 2 players matching keycards. This indicates those 2 players are going on a mission together. The players can voice their opinion about who they got teamed up with, but ultimately the decision is the head researcher's. So be sure you choose your head researcher wisely. For our first round, Brandon was voted in as the head researcher, and he chose Team 1 to be Clark and Bruce, Team 2 to be Diana and Barry, Team 3 to be Hal and Kate, Team 4 to be James and Selena, and Team 5 to be Richard and Barbara. And because Brandon can't go on a mission, and Tim cannot go on a mission alone, Brandon and Tim will stay back in the meeting room. There will be no attempt for Part 6 this round. Phase 3, Mission Phase. During the mission phase, you'll be in one of 2 places, either out on a mission or you stay back in the meeting room. Once every team has made it to their mission room, close the door if you have one, and one of 3 things will happen. Scenario 1, both players are researchers. If both players claim to be researchers, they must both verbally agree to attempt to collect the part. After they verbally agree, one of the players roll the action dice. It doesn't matter which one. Their mission is successful if the red X logo is rolled face up. The players will pick up the purification part, wait for the head researcher to call them back, and return proudly with one of the 6 purification parts. If either the alien head or the cure is rolled, nothing happens. The players wait for the head researcher to call them back and then return empty-handed. The next scenario that could happen is one player will be an alien and the other will be a researcher. Here we have Diana, who we know is an alien, and Barry, who is a researcher. Barry will pick up the action dice and ask Diana, "Do you want to roll for the part?" Diana can either agree to attempt for the part, or she can try to infect Barry. If the alien agrees to attempt for the part, then one of the players will roll the action dice. Their mission is successful if the red X is rolled face up. The players will pick up the purification part, wait for the head researcher to call them back, and return with one of the 6 purification parts. If either the alien head or the cure is rolled, nothing happens. Note that an alien who verbally agrees to attempt for a part cannot attempt an infection after the action dice has been rolled. The players will wait for the head researchers to call them back and return empty-handed. This is a risky attempt for the alien to try to gain the trust of the other players. If the alien announces they are trying to infect the other player, the alien will roll the action dice. The infection is successful if the alien head is rolled. If the infection is successful, then the researcher is now an alien who will try to infect other players throughout the game. If either the red X or the cure is rolled, nothing happens, and the researcher stays human. This is when the game gets interesting. Please note that if the aliens are winning too often, you can put the cure into play. I will go over the cure later in this video. The last scenario that could happen was that both players would be aliens. If both players are aliens, they may or may not know the other player is also infected. If they do not know the other player is also an alien, and both verbally agree to attempt for a part, the same rules apply as if both players were researchers. If Alien A announces that they're going to try to infect the other player, then Alien B can announce they are also an alien. But be careful, a researcher may claim to already be infected to prevent you from rolling the action dice to infect them. If Alien A is not convinced that Alien B is also an alien, then Alien A may roll the action dice to try to infect Alien B, because Alien A thinks Alien B is a researcher lying about being infected. It doesn't matter what is rolled because both players are already infected, nothing else happens, and they wait until the head researcher calls them back. A researcher lying about being an alien cannot say he's trying to infect the other player and then roll the action dice. A researcher may only roll the action dice if he is attempting to get a part. If both players believe the other player is an alien, then they can use this time to make plans, or the two players can agree to roll for a part in an attempt to get the other players to trust them. Their mission is successful if the red X is rolled face up. The players will pick up the purification part, wait for the head researcher to call them back, and return with one of the 6 purification parts. If either the alien head or the cure is rolled, nothing happens. The players wait for the head researcher to call them back, and they return empty-handed. Note that all players are expected to play out what the action dice is rolled, but players are encouraged to lie about what was rolled. Also, choosing to just talk and not roll the action dice is always an option in any scenario. If you are not in a mission room during the mission phase, then you will stay back in the meeting room. During the mission phase, the players in the meeting room can use this time to discuss what they think is going on, or if there is an alien in the meeting room, the alien may attempt to infect another player. If an alien chooses to try to infect another player in the meeting room, the alien rolls the action dice and follows the same rules as stated in the mission room rules. If there is more than one alien in the meeting room, only the first alien to attempt an infection may roll. Only one infection attempt may be attempted in the meeting room per round, no matter how many aliens are present. If an alien attempts an infection on another alien, they may not choose to attempt to infect another player that round. In our scenario, Brandon and Tim were left in the meeting room, but as the game progresses, there will be less missions to go on, so more people will stay back in the meeting room. Phase 4, mission over. Once everyone in the meeting room verbally agrees they are finished with whatever they want to discuss or do during that round, the head researcher will call all the players back to the meeting room. Setting up a group text may be useful here. If players in the mission room are not finished with their action roll or their discussions, they do not have to return until they are ready, but they cannot return to the meeting room until they have been called back. Players should not try to communicate with other players that are still in mission rooms, so you should never leave your mission room yelling, "So-and-so is an alien," at the top of your lungs. Wait until everyone has left their mission rooms before you start accusing other people of being aliens. Under no circumstance should you ever enter a mission room that other players are using. Once everyone is back in the meeting room, the players that were successful on their missions will put their purification parts on the purification schematic board. Then the players will discuss what happened during their mission. After all the lies and accusatory remarks, a new round will begin. The new round starts with voting in a new head researcher the same way as before. The current head researcher may be voted back in to head the new round. The new round is played exactly the same as the first, except the 2 players that were sent on missions together last round cannot be teamed up on back-to-back missions. The only other change is the number of missions that are sent out. There should be a mission for each part as long as there are enough players to go. In our example, we already collected 2 of the 6 purification parts. This means that there are only 4 missions left to attempt. This round, Selena was voted in as head researcher. Selena made Team 1 Clark and Barbara, Team 2 Bruce and Kate, Team 4 Diana and Barry, and Team 6 Tim and Richard. Hal pointed out that Diana and Barry were on missions together last round, so they cannot go together on back-to-back missions. So Team 4 became Diana and Brandon. Hal, Barry, and James stayed back with Selena in the meeting room. This process is repeated until either the researchers collect all 6 parts to the purification machine and win the game, or the aliens win if they infect all the researchers, or no player is voted in as head researcher. Sometimes you may see the same side always winning. Facility 342 is designed for you to experiment with the rules. Here are 2 ways to modify the game if one side is winning too often. If the aliens are winning too often, put the cure into play. The cure happens during the mission phase. If the cure is rolled during an alien's attempt to infect the researcher, that alien is now cured and becomes a human researcher again. The roller only becomes cured if one of the players is a researcher, and it has to be during an infection attempt. The cure can be fun to add just to spice the game up. If the researchers are winning too often, start the game with a 3rd alien. Thank you for watching my How to Play Red X Facility 342 video. I hope you enjoyed playing my game as much as I enjoyed making it. If you don't already own a copy, or want to see what other exciting games we've come up with, please visit our website at redxboardgames.com or click on the link in the description below. Thank you, and good luck staying human.